Hello, welcome to the Nonprofit Plug. Here again Tuesday. We're going to wait a few seconds for people to join to tap in. I just got off Periscope because I usually start there. Decided to do the Nonprofit Plug on Instagram as well because I feel like this information is really important. We are in our September series on preparing yourself to start a nonprofit. So in a few seconds, I'm going to give a recap of what we went over last week, and then we can get started in our topic for today. If you're joining, feel free to share with someone. Of course, you want to share this information with someone else to bless them if they're interested in starting a nonprofit or even on the fence. Often people are on the fence about it because they don't know enough information to start. That should never prevent you from starting your nonprofit organization, because you and your nonprofit, the work that you plan on doing, is going to be to benefit someone else. So if you are not choosing to start your nonprofit, if that is the measure in which you're going to be offering work, doing your ministry, etc., then you need to start the nonprofit in order to serve those people. Don't leave those people abandoned because you are too afraid, don't know enough information about starting a nonprofit. You want to start as soon as possible in order to serve those people. So I just want to give you that soundbite information. So let's get started. For the Nonprofit Plug, my name is Kia Tattegrain, and you can stay connected with me, KiaHarris.com. I am the founder of Dare Humanity, also a nonprofit consultant. Just went full-time being a nonprofit consultant, and I will never go back to working for anyone. That's just my personal choice. The Nonprofit Plug is soundbite information for nonprofit founders, people who are interested in starting a nonprofit organization. And so you are here, you are in the room, in this virtual room, you are in the right place. If you're on the fence, if you already have a nonprofit, you just want to be able to learn more. So last week we talked about your mission and your vision. We talked about developing your mission and vision, why it's important to develop them, what they look like. I gave you a scenario of what a mission and vision is for a nonprofit by giving you a visual image of what a nonprofit organization looks like. So I was talking about a house. Your nonprofit organization is the house. Inside this house is the people that you're serving, and the programs and the services you offer, etc. The windows into that house is your mission and vision statement. So your mission and your vision statement, they're one-sentence statements. They are straightforward. They're concise. They lead into what your organization is doing. People, when they see your mission and vision, it should activate them to want to learn more, whether they're going to your nonprofit organization website, your Facebook page, if they follow you personally, they want to learn more information about that. So that is a recap of last week. You can watch the replay on Periscope, Instagram. It's here. It's in the TV series. And then you can also go on YouTube. It's uploaded to YouTube, and you can find that information there for you. Thank you all for joining. Don't forget to share it with someone if you like to share it with them. So this week's topic is who is going to help you build, and I absolutely love talking about this topic because you shouldn't only be the one person working for your organization, doing the work, putting in the long hours. It shouldn't just be you. Absolutely, you should have someone on your team. So we're going to talk today about who those people are and how to find them, what to look for. So your team is your board of directors. Let's just start off with that. The board of directors for the state of California, often for other states, there's a requirement that you have at least 3 board members on your board. Who are those people? Number 1 is going to be the president/founder, executive director. This is usually going to be you, and it should be you as a nonprofit founder. So president is the first role. Second is the secretary. This person maybe have administration skills. They have a desire to serve on your board, to volunteer. Secretary doesn't, they don't necessarily have to have a certain skill set, but as long as they're able to keep up with the minutes or the meeting notes and keep up with all things administrative when it comes to the board meetings. And your final position that is required by most states for the board of directors is your treasurer. Maybe this individual has accounting expertise, maybe they work in the for-profit sector, just someone who's interested in the numbers, keeping the numbers with your organization, and also willing to serve others. So the reality of being a founder is there are so many things, so many hats that you wear each week. Every week I wear mostly a marketing and fundraising hat because of the work that we're doing. If you have different campaigns that are going on, you're going to have these different hats that you're wearing in order to actualize the work that you're doing. And so seeing that you're going to be wearing a lot of hats is going to be some work. To run a nonprofit, you're going to want to have the team behind you. So we talked about the board of directors. And one thing I also want to note about your board of directors is the fact that you don't want to have too many family members on your board of directors. Nothing personal, but if you're starting out with a low number of board of directors and there is a family member on the board, that is a conflict of interest and a red flag for the IRS in the state of California, whatever state you're in. So you want to keep that number very low. Often the question people ask me is, how many board of directors should you have? Keep this concept in mind. If you're having a board of director meeting, there are 15 people at this meeting. You have 10 different agenda items to go over. How effective are your meetings going to be if you have 15 items on your list, or whatever the case is, 15 board members, and they're all trying to contribute? How effective are you going to be? It's not always about the number of how many people are on your board. It's about the quality of the people on your board. So if you have a larger number of board directors, absolutely you can have a family member on the board. But once again, keep that number very low. One way to make sure that you're not having a conflict of interest is just to not have those people on the board. There are alternatives for that, having those family members on your board of directors. One of the alternatives is to have an advisory board. So my organization has an advisory board. These people are non-voting, but they are more committed, not necessarily more committed, but they have more time to actually develop some programs, work on small projects. So one way to do that is to have a family member on the advisory board if you like them to be on the advisory board. My organization, Dare Humanity, has an advisory board, and my husband is on the advisory board. And so that is one way to have a family member if you liked him to be on the advisory board. One thing I also want to note about the quality of your board of directors is that you should not be seeking people who just want to have a title, people who are just space fillers. Because if they are just space fillers, that means they're just going to fill up space. They're not necessarily going to do the work, help you with developing the mission and actually orchestrating your mission and developing your programs and your services. So don't just select people who have certain clout or certain status because of their name and their title. Select people that are actually going to be active and do the work that needs to be done in order to do the work of your organization. I've had board members in the past who were just space fillers, who just wanted to be on the board, not necessarily involved, and I eventually lost contact with them because of that, not being involved. And so you don't want to have those kind of people. Make sure you're selecting based on a certain level of criteria. You're not just selecting them just because you need to have those seats filled. So those are just my pointers on that as well. So we talked about the board of directors. We talked about the advisory board. Your team also looks like your volunteers and interns. These are people who want to volunteer their time, whether it's an intern basis, paid or not. These people are willing to commit to your organization in that way. So make sure the people that are around you are reflecting the mission of the organization, that they have a heart for the mission as well, and that they're willing to be active and serving, and also know that these people have a set of obligations. So one of the obligations that board of directors have is a fiduciary responsibility. This means that these people have a responsibility to think of the best interest of the organization, whether they're working outside the organization, whether they are handling the internal work of the organization. They have a fiduciary responsibility to think of the best interests of the organization. So they're not doing things that are going to be a conflict of interest. They are not making partnerships with people who are going to be a conflict of interest that conflicts with your board and the work of the organization, your mission. And then you also want to note that these people that are on your board, they have an obligation to bring in funding, whether they're giving in directly or they are setting aside a time to fundraise on the behalf of the organization. How is your organization going to run if you don't have the funds coming in? So make sure in the beginning stages when you're inviting these people to be on your board of directors that these people know that you are wanting to continue to develop, and part of that development means they need to help with bringing in funding for your organization. And then I want to also note that you can think outside the box when it comes to your board of directors. It shouldn't just be people in the nonprofit sector, people that are in your certain area or focus of work. If your organization is an educational organization, think outside of the box to people who work at the bank, people in finance, people who work in agriculture. Just find the people who are willing to serve, willing to put in the work, willing to provide their insight, their feedback, and suggestions in order to make your organization effective and the work that you're doing effective for the people that you plan on serving. So that is all for the nonprofit plug for our September series this Tuesday. Go ahead and share this with someone who is looking to start a nonprofit, on the fence about starting a nonprofit. You want to make sure that you're starting your organization because there are people that are tied to your organization. Whether you started or not, people are tied to it. So when you delay starting your nonprofit, that means you're delaying the services and the programs that are going to go to benefit someone else. So stay connected, KiaHarris.com. You can find information about me there, the things that I do, about my nonprofit, Dare Humanity. And you can also see my online seminars that are coming up. If you're interested in a consult call, I'm doing free 30-minute consult calls this week. You can click the link in my bio to register to sign up for a consult call. We can do it via Zoom or a phone call. Otherwise, keep connected for the information I share on my Instagram page, as well as YouTube. You can always go back and watch the videos that I display here. And so thank you for joining the Nonprofit Plug. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Be sure to invite a friend next time. So be blessed. Think about your organization and the work that you're doing, because the work of your organization and your goals are just as important as the goals of the organizations and other organizations and companies that you work for. So stay blessed and think about your nonprofit organization.